Hello everybody, my name is Cyber and welcome back to another Undertale Adventures video. Today I'm going to be doing a quick beginner's guide on Undertale Adventures and kind of what to expect when you play this game. Without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. Undertale Adventures is a tower defense game. If you've never played tower defense games, this can be a little overwhelming for some people. And so I wanted to make a beginner's guide kind of going over everything there is in Undertale Adventures right now before the Snowden update drops, just to kind of expect what to expect when you first get into the game. Without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so starting out, we have units. So your units are what you're going to be using to play the game. As you can see here, I have a whole list of units here, ranging all the way from Frogget, Tutorial, Flowey, Parsnip. These are all Ruins characters. The game just started, so they're starting with Ruins, which is the first area in Undertale, which makes sense. As you can see, there's several different features you can do with these characters. You can select them and see more information about them. For example, this Frogget, I can see how much he costs to place down. I can see that he's a ground unit. I can see these damage types. I can see the level. Now, this might seem overwhelming as a new player. You might not know what to expect, but let's go ahead and go over some of these things. So I will leave out the stats for now. What matters is right here. These are the stats that you want to care about and the cost. And of course, probably this and this is what you want to care about the most when you start out. The cost is important because this is what it takes to place down the unit. This is what it takes to place them down initially, right? The damage is, well, the damage they're going to do in the game per attack. The SPA, which means seconds per attack, a lot of people get that confused, is how many seconds pass after they attack. So he attacks, he has to wait 3.6 seconds, and then he does this damage again. Their range, or RNG, is how far they can hit it, how far they can hit an enemy, for example. So this guy has 24.8 range, which is pretty okay. This number up here is your XP, or how much level this Frogget has. For example, he has 0 XP. He's already level 20. These two I will get into in a second, but let's go ahead and look at another character. We have Mygosp here. His name is Pink because he is an SR, which is a super rare character. As you can see here, Luke's is an R. He's a rare character. And then we have, Dust Sands. He is a UR, which is ultra rare. We have Rock, which is an uncommon. Of course, Frogget is a common. You can see all their names are kind of color-coded here for you to understand them. Another interesting thing to look at is, the typing of the unit. So this guy is a ground type, which means you can place them anywhere on the ground that is available. Whimsin is a hill unit, or Nabstablook or Dapperblook are hill units, which means they can only be placed on the hill. You cannot place them on the ground or anything like that. You will start with Whimsin and Frogget, so you don't have to worry about any of these other guys for now. But that's really about it for the units. Just remember, these are the units that you'll be using to clear the game with. These are what you want to collect and build up and get stronger. Another interesting thing too is notice how this guy's level is green. Excuse me. The green level means that you have them equipped. That's all that means. So as you can see, Dapperblook, Flowey, Dummy, Mygosp all have green levels because they're all equipped in my hotbar. Another important aspect with that is your level, your souls, and your XP. If you go to stats, it will tell you your level, it will tell you your XP, it will tell you your souls, even though you can see it here. To get this, you basically just have to play the game. You can get this through daily rewards. You get usually souls, some trait rerolls, and other items that I'll explain later. You always get some souls. You do not get XP. The only way you can get XP is through playing and clearing the stages. Right now, the maximum level is 15. The only reason I'm level 16 is because I capped out before the update where you were capped out at 15 dropped. But yeah, that's really all there is about the unit section. Let's go ahead and move on. Okay, next I have brought us to the stat rerolling, which can be found just beyond the play area. If you click on areas in it, it will bring you here if you, click on it. And then go up to Sands and you can start stat rerolling. So how this works is you're going to select one unit. And you're going to be graded with a whole bunch of somewhat similar things. You're going to see the name, their level, and their determination percentage, as well as their XP. And then these are the stats I was talking about earlier. So perhaps it's easy to explain it like this. A unit's base stat is B. So B is what a normal stat is, like it's the average stat. A is better, C is below average. So better, worse, basically is how this works. So as you can see here, this Frogget is pretty good because he has S, which is much better than B, SS, which is much better than B, and then S-, which is of course better than B. So if your unit has quite low stats, like let's take this Luke's for example, he has a B stat. I don't want to change these other stats because they're the best they can be, right? That starts with Perfect Souls and Soul Fragments. As you can see here, the game explains it as use Soul Fragments to reroll all stats and use Perfect Souls to reroll specific stats. But it can be kind of confusing sometimes because you may not know when exactly to reroll your stats. For example, this Mygosp has one above average stat, one average stat, and one below average stat. Way below average stat. In fact, I would probably use a Soul Fragment on this because I actually have one very below average stat that is not good for him, and one slightly above average stat. The only reason Mygosp is a little bit different, perhaps this was a bad example because he only really cares about range and SPA anyway, but let's take this Parsnip for example. This guy has all below average stats. This is when you would use a Soul Fragment. If your units have all of these stats below average, I would take your chance on a Soul Fragment and just kind of wait until you get something better. See, these are all pretty below average too. These are better. This is below average. This is a bit better. This is a bit better. And re-roll until you get something you like or until you get an SSS stat. Then you want to start using Perfect Souls. I'll take you to Moldsmal for that. Or a perfect example, Luke's. Perfect Souls are used for re-rolling specific stats. I don't want to re-roll all the stats here because I already have the 2 perfect stats on Luke's. So I would use a perfect roll to try and re-roll for something better. As you can see, they're not getting anything good. Now, the determination percentage. This is very important, and this is probably the most important thing you should take away from this. Here's how determination percentage works. If you view the odds, you can see here that you have a pretty high chance of getting something below average here. It's about more than likely that you're going to get something that's B or below. And as you can see here, it's pretty rare that you're going to get A- or above. Now, the determination level, or percentage, I should say, affects these odds. So, for example, this Luke's has 0% determination. These odds are all normal odds. If we go to, let's see, Flowey, who has 100% determination, and we view the odds, we have a much better chance of getting something better. In fact, we can't even get a below average stat. The only below average stat we can get is B-, and that's pretty unlikely to get, although it happens to me all the time. But you have a very likely shot of getting up 6.8% to roll SSS, which is much better than 0.5%. That is why the determination level is so important. But how do you get this determination level? The way to get determination level is by having your unit kill enemies on the playing field. Every time you win a match and you have killed some enemies with their unit, they'll gain about 1% determination per kill. They'll also gain XP per kill. And that's really how stat rerolling works. If you want the basic rundown of it, use Soul Fragments when you want to reroll all your stats. Use specific fragments, like in this case, to reroll just one stat. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. Okay, here we are in the lab. So one thing I do want to explain here, again, you can get to here by either going from the play area back into the lab or just clicking on Evolution. Evolution. Right now, there's only one unit you can evolve, and that's Dapperblook. When you go to evolve here, you're going to click on the unit that you have, if you have them, and it's going to tell you the requirements, which is 1 Dapper Hat. Now, I do not have the Dapper Hat right now, which is unfortunate because I can't show this, but of course, what you will do is you will click on the unit, it will say evolve. Of course, I can't evolve him, but it will evolve into Dapperblook. Now, when that happens, you're going to lose your Nabstablook, but his stats will stay the exact same. His stats will stay the same, and I believe his trait will stay the same as well. I actually don't know if that's the case. He might lose his trait. I think he actually does lose his trait because it becomes a whole unit, but he does keep his stats, which is nice. So that's how I was able to get this Dapperblook up to full level. In case you didn't know, there was a glitch where you could evolve and you keep your Navstablook, and I just got to keep mine. That's why this Dapperblook was so easy to get full SSS for me. But that's besides the point. Evolution, pretty simple. You really just got to get the requirements fulfilled for evolution. Let's go ahead and move on to the next area. Okay, the next area here is traits. Now you can get here by clicking traits, or just where we were in evolution down below, go up the stairs and go up to traits. Now when you enter here, you're going to see a lot. You're going to see the traits that you have available, and you're going to see your units. Now I don't really have any unit. I'm going to run under spin, so I'm just going to choose this parsnip that has no trait. When you click on a unit for the first time, it's going to say you don't have a trait on them, which is of course normal. And you're going to see all the traits here. There's a whole lot of traits, and you can of course see their odds here. Let's go ahead and do one reroll and see what we get. We got Royal Guard, so we had about 15% chance of getting it. What these do is they upgrade your monster's stats, but they can also downgrade your monster stats. For example, the Monster Soul gives you SPA, or Patience gives you SPA. But, however, the rarer the soul is, usually the better it is. Now, some of you might be wondering, what exactly should I go for when starting out? I would say, do not have a Monster Soul. Just get one of these 3 or 4. You're likely not going to get one of these, 7 traits, right? When you first start out with 10 rerolls or whatever it is. Go for one of these 4. I would suggest, highly suggest. Get one of these 4. If you don't, I promise you, you're going to want to get your Frogget or Whimsin that you start out with one of these 4. If you happen to get one of these, that's very good. Now, I would suggest saving your rerolls until you are for sure pretty much guaranteed one of these. Now, it's pretty likely that, you will get one of these if you have like 50 rerolls or something like that. But I mean, I'm not saying save up 100% of your 100 trait rerolls to get integrity, right? I have integrity on most of my units because I don't know. I got really lucky with it. And I have only had bravery on 2 of my units. Integrity is just super common for me for some reason. It's different for everyone, all right? But again, as a starting out player, I would highly suggest going for these 4. If you happen to get one of these, don't worry about it. That's good. Keep it on your monster. If you get these 4, that is okay. Keep it and save your rerolls until you're absolutely sure that you have enough, or you're confident enough in your rerolls. Like, for example, I would totally go for it for 35. I think I could get one of these 7. I'm not going to right now because I don't want to waste these on a fodder parsnip that I'm never going to use, but besides the point, go ahead and do this right away. It'll help you out so much. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next area. All right, here we are in this area in the True Lab here. The way to get here is just go in that door by the evolution, or of course you can not here. You can actually click on this summon button and it'll teleport you here. Anyway, this is the summon. So when you first step in, it's gonna look pretty easy to understand. Here's your souls. You can buy some souls. It's gonna show you the summon that you're doing. You have the summon button and the rates. Now I am gonna summon just once just to show you guys what it looks like, animation, and then you get a unit and it tells you its rarity and its potential. Now, as you can see, the rates there are, pretty normal. 1% for ultra rare, 4% for super rare, and then the rest are somewhat common, right? And then after you summon, you can go ahead and exit out, go to your units, and it will go to the bottom of your box, or it goes in a collected order. So as you can see, these are the order I've collected these units. Don't worry about this Whimsin being here. But as you can see, this Whimsin right here I just got came from that summon. Again, I don't really need him, so I'm going to discard him. That's another important use of this units tab, is you can lock up characters. So make sure to do that after you get one that you want to keep. And then, of course, you can sell the ones that you don't want. Like, for example, I would sell this Parks. I just think he's kind of cool there. You can go ahead and select the trash icon again to exit out. The summon's not too hard to understand. There will be a way to switch this. For example, in the next update, they're planning on adding Snowden. So this will be a switchable button. You can go ahead and click it or press like an arrow, I'm sure, something like that. But it will be available for here in the summon. Anyway, let's go ahead and head into the last area before we get into the game here. Okay, the last area we have is the AFK Chamber. I'm not actually going to go in there and show you guys what it's like in there. you can go ahead and test it out for yourself. But the AFK Chamber is very important right now. The way to get here, you can either teleport here from the AFK Chamber or go in through the core through the MTT Hotel. The AFK Chamber is basically as it sounds. You go in there and you just sit there and you get rewards like you get 2 to 4 souls every 200 seconds, you have a 6% chance of getting trait rerolls and perfect souls, and you have a 10% chance of getting soul fragments every 200 seconds. There's also a limited time available Dust Sands ruins that you can get there, and a nice shop. I'll explain what the nice shop is once we're in game. Another thing I will quickly explain is the store. So, the store here has 4 items as of right now. The nice shop, Dust Sands, 2 times XP, and 2 times souls. Obviously, these two are kind of self-explanatory. 2 times souls doesn't work in the AFK Chamber, by the way. 2 times XP, excuse me, does not work on your units level up XP, if that makes sense. So your units will not gain like double level up or anything for that. But there's also a limited item, or a limited tower, I should say, which probably will be for every update. And there's also the nice shop, which I will explain in game. But anyway, that's really about it for the out-of-game stuff. Let's go ahead and hop into, you know, the play area, and let's go ahead and show you what that's like. Okay, welcome to the play area. Here we are. You can go ahead and get here by areas play, or of course there's a play button right here. As you can see, it's kind of right in the middle here. But this is where you're going to play the game. I know, how exciting. You can have up to 4 players in one of these little pods that will teleport you to your whichever stage you choose. Let's go and hop in. As you can see here, when you first get in there, you're going to have this select region. By the way, this is here because I'm an admin, and I can ban people, but don't worry about that. That won't be on your screen. No need to worry about that. You can select the region, which there's only one right now, which is ruins. When you select the region, you'll get a whole bunch of information here, but all you really need to know is what these are. There are 6 acts in ruins, each of which get harder as you unlock them. You'll start with Act 1. Once you complete or clear Act 1, you unlock Act 2, Act 2, Act 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. As you can see there on the left-hand side, there are the drops, which are the Dummy, Perfect Soul, Dapper Hat, and Trait Reroll, and Soul Fragment. All pretty low chances there. Of course, the chances increase as you go in Act and also as you go in difficulty. Now, Pacifist is at the top here, but this is actually a harder mode than Neutral. I'm going to explain this very clearly because a lot of people seem to get it confused. Neutral is easier than Pacifist, okay? You want to start with Neutral first and select Neutral when you're in this mode, because Pacifist, what Pacifist does is it cuts your damage in 33% from all of your characters, all your towers, all your units. So you're going to want to start with clearing all of these acts on Neutral, and then I would suggest going to Pacifist. But anyway, as you can see all of your clears in each of the acts. I've been grinding a little bit, definitely not as much as other people, but I've done my fair share of acts. But anyway, let's just go ahead and hop into Act 1 so I can show you guys what it's like in game. Go ahead and select the mode. As you can see, it's going to allow you to see what act you're in, ruins and on neutral, what mode, what A region, what act. And of course, you're going to have a timer. Then people can join up, and you can have up to 4 people, as I said earlier. You can still see the drops. But anyway, let's go ahead and get right into the game. Alright, here we are in the game. Now, it's going to look a little weird at first. If you haven't played a tower defense game before, this may look a little overwhelming. Go ahead and select neutral. As I said before, do not select pacifist on your first run through. That will be very unfortunate. And here's how this works. So tower defense games, if you're new, here's what's going to happen. These enemies with health are going to come out of here and follow this path. As you can see, if you follow my mouse, they're going to follow this path. Maybe they'll turn here, who knows. And they're going to try and get to the end goal, which is your health, which is home right here. To prevent them from doing this, you're going to place your units down. These units take 3D space in the world, and as you can see, they have stats. They have the damage, the SPA, and the range. They also have the 2 damage types, as I said earlier. These don't really matter right now, I'll say that again. But anyway, let's go ahead and wait to skip the wave. I'll explain all of this in a second. It's a lot of information. But here's this basic kind of GUI. We have the targeting mode, we have the upgrade, and how much they sell for. So as you can see, he's at upgrade 0 out of 4. Flowey's at upgrade 0 out of 4. We can see as we upgrade him that these stats actually get better. So when we upgrade him, he's going to increase his stats how much it said it's going to increase its stats. So now he's at the same stats as he was as it said on the right hand side. And now that we've upgraded him, there's another stat right here. As you can see, there are 4 different targeting types. There's the first, which will target the first unit or enemy that comes down the path. There's the last, which will target the last enemy in their range. There's the strongest enemy, which will target the enemy with the most health in their range. And weakest, which will target the weakest enemy or the enemy with the least health. Now, after you kill the last enemy, after every wave, you will get some gold, and you will get to here. This is the break room area. As you can see, there are some items selected out on the table in front of you. Go ahead and go up and pick one. Usually you're going to want to take one that minuses your SPA, increases your damage, or increases your range. All of the items are just good, like they're good to have. They're better than nothing. After that 20-second timer is up, you will return to the area with some gold. As you can see, you get gold after you clear a wave. We're on wave 2 now. And that increases every time you clear a wave after you complete all the enemies, or if you skip a wave, which I will do after this. That's a lot to take in. Go ahead and rewatch if you need a quick explanation. But basically, the break room area is where you'll go after every wave, and you'll get a little, a bonus kind of item. Now, here is another deal, is the type of enemies that can come your way. As you can see here, we have some froggets, but there's also a flying enemy. Now, Flowey is a ground unit, so he cannot hit flying enemies, but Dapperblook is a hill enemy. As you can see, I can't place him on the ground anywhere. So what you do is you go on the hill, one of these upgraded, up in latitude areas here, or what am I talking about? Higher up area. You're going to want to place him down. Of course, like I said before, hill units can hit ground and hill character or flying enemies. Hill characters can usually only hit ground enemies, with some exceptions. Now, as you can see, we're back here again. This is what I was talking about before, by the way, with the Nice Shop. If you have this Game Pass, you can select items from here, which are much better than in here. As you can see, Nice Cream gets 12% range. With Butterscotch Pie, you only get 8%. 20% damage, like you get the point. These are obviously much better items, right? But anyway, back to the game. As you can see, we got more gold there. Let's see, we can keep upgrading our Flowey there, and he gets up to, increases his SPA, but he gets a lot more damage, a lot more range there. We're going to get him up to the final upgrade there. And now we're on wave 3. So, like I was saying, the Nice Shop is a Game Pass you can get from either AFK Chamber or buying it, and that's what it gives you. It gets you access to better items in the break room area. Now, that is a lot to take in. There are many different units, like Flowey is a ground unit, Dapperblook is a hill unit, right? There are also these two, which are support units. As you can see, you place them down, they do no damage, they have a high SPA, and they have range, but they buff the damage of those units. But we're going to finish up right here and see what rewards we get, and I'll go over it as quick as I can before we leave. But every time you clear, you'll get match stats, will get you XP and souls, and drops, which will appear here. If you win, if you lose, you get 0 XP and 0 souls. But now we are returning. Okay, and then when you come back to this area here, it will greet you with that lovely title screen again. You'll click start, and you'll be right back in the game with your collected souls, XP, and any items you got, unless, of course, you're max level. But anyway, that is about it. There are many things to this game that go a little more in depth than maybe I went, but I wanted to make this quick beginner's guide, comprehensive in-depth guide. Maybe it was a little too long, but I did want to make this just before the Snowden update came out, just to give new players a sense of what this game is and what it's all about. If I left anything out or disincluded something, I apologize. I am trying to get everything all jumbled in this video, and as you can see, matches go by quite fast. So sometimes it's hard to explain everything in one go. But that is all I have for you all today. If you like this guide, if you want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to play this game for yourself, it's in the link in the description. I include the link in the description in all of my videos on any game I do, so I will always include it there. If you want to join the Discord for Undertale Adventures, It will be in the link in the description as well. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video.